Today I lucked up by taking a picture of my wife's ass. This happened about a week ago. I took my wife to Barnes & Noble to get some new books for us to read. I was half-heartedly looking at different books while trailing my wife throughout the store. At some point I realize my wife is nowhere to be seen, but whatever, I'll find her eventually. After a few minutes of mindless wandering, I notice her on the other side of the store. I also notice that her butt looks really good in the jeans she's wearing, so as I'm walking up towards her, phone camera zoomed in on her butt, I hear someone behind me shout, "Hey creep. Why are you taking a picture of that girl's ass?" I turn around to see an employee as the source of the shouting, and look towards my wife who is clutching her sides, laughing her ass off. I try to explain that the woman is my wife, but the employee was having none of it. My wife finally came to my rescue when the manager came up and said that I had to leave. She explained that we were indeed married and even showed her the picture of us on our wedding day she keeps in her purse. The employee apologizes profusely, and of course we plead with the manager not to reprimand her for her outburst, as the manager called it. Honestly, I'm glad she said something, as someone from the outside seeing this guy following a girl around the store and then taking a picture of said girl's ass. It was just a wrong place, wrong time kinda thing, but my wife has started telling me don't get caught this time whenever we go out. She's told just about everyone we know, and in lovingly referred to as the ass man in our friend group now. TLDR, I took a picture of my wife's ass, an employee called me out for it, not knowing it was my wife. My wife left me high and dry until the manager asked me to leave. Everyone we know now refers to me as the ass man now. And before anyone starts polishing their armor, yes, my wife knows I do this. Yes, my wife is more than okay with it. She does the same thing to me. My wife would have pulled the "I've never seen this man in my life" card there 100%. You're lucky. I'm sure she would have normally, but this is her favorite bookstore and the next closest one is an hour away. So what you're really saying is that the decline in physical book sales is the only thing that saved you from being a registered sex offender. Imagine if you mistook someone else for your wife. That's where I thought it was going, lol. I thought he was going to get caught by his wife taking a picture of unknowingly someone else's ass. If that had happened, I wouldn't be alive to tell this tale. Today I lucked up by not telling my wife our son was coming home. This happened Sunday night. My oldest son is in the Marines, hasn't been home in almost a year. He took 10 days leave so he could come visit. At first, we did not tell his mother in case the leave got denied. When it was approved, he just decided he would fly in and surprise her. I tell the wife I am going over to a friend's to watch the Packers-Falcons game, as a cover to pick him up. I get to the airport, and actually watch the second quarter of the game waiting for his plane. He gets off the plane, we talk for a bit waiting for the luggage, and then he goes to change into his dress blues. Now the whole time I've been texting my wife saying I was bored, the game sucked, I wasn't gonna stay much longer. We discuss the plan on how to surprise his mother on the drive back to the house. We go back and forth from having her open the front door to see him on the porch to just having him walk into the house. We settle on him waiting a few minutes after I go inside, as I wanted to get the whole thing on video. Free internet points and all that. I walk in and the house is quiet. No one in the living room. A little odd, but it is after 9 PM. Maybe by some miracle my other kids are actually already in bed. Alarm bells start going off in my head when I open our bedroom door, and the first thing I notice is the flickering candle light. What I did not know was the entire time I was gone, my wife set in motion her own plan for the evening. She got the kids settled by letting them keep their tablets after bedtime. Took a nice hot bath, redid her makeup, and when I told her I was on the way home, lit the room with candles and put on her duck me lingerie. So no shit, there I was, staring at my wife giving me her best come hither look, with our 21-year-old son outside not 30 feet away, waiting to surprise her. A handful of reactions to this scene are acceptable. Pulling out your cell phone and sending a text message is not one. The text told my son to stay outside. I had solved the most immediate problem of our son walking in and seeing his mother like that, but I was drawing a blank on how to fix everything else. So my brain latched onto what has to be most stupid plan I have ever had in life. I told my wife to get dressed because she would never believe what the neighbors were doing and she had to come see. The look of confusion on her face was priceless. It took me 5 minutes to convince her to put on some sweatpants and a sweatshirt to go to the front door. Finally, after dodging all her questions and getting her to open the door, there was our son in his dress uniform and she was ecstatic. The noise brought all the kids out and everyone was happy. Except me. The wife excused herself after a few minutes and took off the lingerie under her sweats before anyone noticed. It goes without saying I did not get any action that night. Also, in trying to salvage the whole surprise, I forgot to video it for my free internet points, so I guess TIFU will have to suffice instead. TLDR, didn't tell wife that Marine son was coming home. Missed out on sexy times in the second half of the Packers Falcons game. Update. Wife is freaking out that I put this on Reddit. Have been reading some of the comments to her this morning. She is worried that this story will end up in one of her Marine mom's FB groups and they somehow will magically know it was her lol. Son wants to take his siblings out for ice cream and the new Lego movie. Cross your fingers, people. I have to say that I'm glad that's how it turned out for you. When I got to the flickering candlelight, I thought it was going to go very differently. I was for sure expecting I caught my wife cheating and my Marine son is in jail for beating her side piece up. Today I ducked up by making my wife think I killed myself. Right off the bat, I want to say that I am in no way, shape or form making light of suicide. This was not a prank gone wrong, or something I did on purpose, but rather a very unfortunate series of usually perfectly benign activities that led to me accidentally terrifying and mortifying my wife. Burner for reasons. This happened a couple of weeks ago. I tripped and sprained my ankle. It's been bothering me enough that I've been taking Epsom salt baths in the evenings after work. In addition to helping with the sprain and swelling, I also find it incredibly relaxing. Say what you want about a grown man taking a bath, I enjoy a good soak. I also deal with a condition called angiokeratoma. It's basically blood vessels that have expanded and cause a few small, albeit slightly unsightly, dark spots, a rather sensitive area. I call them old man spots. They're harmless, and most of the time I don't even notice, but every once in a while, I'll irritate one of these small bumps and it bleeds like a son of a bitch. Additionally, it takes forever to get the bleeding to stop. It's not like I can elevate my balls, let alone put a band-aid on. Well, on the day in question, I get a text from my wife that she's going to be working late. So, I get home and decide to soak my ankle, enjoy a little peace and quiet. It's not really important how I did it, but I ended up nicking one of those spots. So, after cursing a reasonable amount, I start the lengthy ritual of holding TP against it and checking every so often to see if it's stopped. Even after the bleeding stops, I have to be very careful for the next few minutes to not get it started again, almost like scratching off a very fresh scab. Well, I finally get it stopped and a short time later, proceed with my bath. I put on my headphones, closed my eyes and relaxed. I wasn't asleep, but I was really zoned out and relaxed, until I was snapped out of it by my wife screaming in absolute terror. I've never ever heard her, or anyone scream like that. It scared the shit out of me, and I jolted awake, nearly flew out of the tub. I shouted, "Honey? What the duck?" She didn't answer me, she was in a heap on the floor bawling. It took me a second to figure out what the hell was going on before shouting, "Jesus Christ." I could see what it must look like to her. I had apparently not stopped the bleeding as well as I thought I had. And my wife walked in on me, eyes closed, slouched over in bathtub full of very bloody water. It took me a long time to calm her down, and I don't think that's something you just get over. Hopefully one day we can laugh about it, but it won't be anytime soon. TLDR, nick my nuts, didn't stop the bleeding completely even though I thought I had. Took a bath, zoned out. Wife walked in on me oblivious to the fact I was bleeding into the water and thought that I had killed myself. Sorry honey. At least she didn't walk in and start celebrating. She picks up the phone. "Rachel, the son of a bitch finally did it. You get the champagne and I'll call those brothers we met at the bar last week. It's unfortunate that band-aids for men's nuts haven't been invented yet. Scotch tape. Testiclasp. A testicle. Spermaband. That story is nuts. Spot on. Ballsy too.